It's very good.
Okay,
I
okay.
went for a small workshop. It was not portrait, it was just a boat. Even that I couldn't manage. Some
We'll
two
ask.
hours thing. Remember, I went in the morning once for a 2 hour workshop in pastels or something.
I was not there.
Okay. So I went. That was Manjari. We traveled together and we went to one of Milan's workshops together.
Okay.
All right. So, portraits and human figures this month. Um, Let me give you a little bit of an overview of what we will do during the month. So, we have done portraits in the past in class and we've focused mostly on faces, but also just front faces and then the various features. So, there are some exercise, some videos from that from last year, which I can share with you and you can watch those as well. So I'm going to do a little bit of that, but this time I'm going to shift focus to other aspects of drawing portraits and also add in the full human figure. Because this is something that we will encounter when you want to make pictures of people during travel, or you want to make somebody's portrait, which is a full figure for portrait. And also, there are applications where if you are into garment design or something, you would like to drape your outfit onto a figure, and then that becomes a little difficult because no matter what you do, your figures tend to just look very plastic. So we want to change that. Now, portraiture, I would say, is often thought of as like the board exam level of art. And with that perception, I sometimes feel that you already are putting yourself in this place of stress that, oh my God, it's portraits. And there are a bunch of reasons for that. So, first of all, faces are really very close to us in how we use faces and navigate around people around us. So you might say that although we have the same features, they're still so, um, our vision is so fine tuned that we can tell one face apart from another face. We might not be able to do that with other species. Like if you have a dog or a cat, you know their face intimately, but if you go to another place and you have the same breed of dogs, you might not be able to tell them apart. So we have a way of receiving the information regarding faces differently. When we have to draw that, however, we have to, at least in the beginning, let go of that part of our understanding of faces. So that is why when you're drawing faces, you will draw two eyes, a nose, and a mouth perfectly well, but it won't look like the person you're drawing. So that is where you start feeling, I'm not going to be able to do it, or it is a very tough topic. So it's tough only because of how well we understand faces in our brains, not in our eyes, and are not able to draw exactly what our eyes are telling us. The board level comes because of this, our understanding of proportions and our ability to control the line. These are the two factors that will help you to make your portraits well. But if you draw comparisons, what you do at a board level exam requires the same elements that you would have learned in the first standard. We are working with letters and numbers, right? It's just the complexity and the application of those letters and numbers and the volume that changes from the first grade to the board exam level. In the same way, our elements are the same. We are just drawing lines, shades, highlights, some texture. It's all just the same whether we are drawing an apple or whether we are drawing a face. So we have to work on controlling the line and also evaluating what we are drawing, why we are drawing the way we are drawing it, and how we can change it to drawing it the way we want to draw it. Okay, so that's the difference. So in this, I want you to start becoming friends with your line. Whatever line you are drawing, that is going to be your tool, and that is like the most vulnerable child that you can think of. You are not going to be cruel to that and say, no, you're drawing wrong, you're doing something wrong. You are going to try to be kinder, and you will probably say, you've done this is great, but how about let's try it this way. I want you to start looking at your line like that child and be more encouraging towards you and your line. If we can do that, then we will move forward. Until we do that, we will only be criticizing ourselves to a level of neutrality where you will not even see how much you have progressed, because you will perpetually be dissatisfied with your outcome. So for this month, whatever you are doing, I can guarantee you, you will see your flaws first. That is how our brains are wired. But if you are going to see a flaw and if you want to express the flaw, you cannot do that until you have found at least one thing that you have done right. Okay? So if you say that my eyes have not come right or they're lopsided, that is a flaw. But in that, you should also be able to see something, and that is going to take more effort to see something that is going right. Okay, so keep that as your base instruction going forward. All right, now today we are going to look at the full figure first, and I want to show you how to look at the figure as a skeleton, how to flesh it out, and then how to also convert that into figures that we will see around us. And then working backwards, looking at the figures, try to identify how the skeleton is formed inside that so that you can get the posture and the proportions more accurately. Okay, so this is how we are going to go from skeleton to full body, and then full body back to skeleton, and then fleshing that out. So we will start with first making just the human form. The simplest way to understand the human form is drawing a stick figure. And this is just like the ordinary stick figure that you have drawn even as a kid. You start off with some kind of an oval shape. And draw a straight line down to any arbitrary length. And then you will draw 2 legs and 2 hands. This is how a kid would draw a stick figure. Very basic, reduced to only the important stuff: head, body, and limbs. Now let's develop this further. You know that it's not just a superficial line or an arbitrary line that makes the body. So let's give it some thickness. Again, start with some oval shape. Make the straight line the spine. Somewhere at a distance away from the base of the oval, we will draw a horizontal line which will become our shoulders. And the bottom of that line, we will draw another line about the same length, which will become our hips. And from here, you will draw 2 straight lines down, 2 lines at a little bit of an angle for arms and legs. Now, this is a little more advanced than your basic stick figure. Now, on this, we can do something more. So, again, an oval shape for the head, the spine, shoulders, hips. This time we are going to put a space somewhere about 1/3 above the base of the line. This is going to become our waist. And right above that, we are going to make a trapezium or a trapezoid, which is going to become our torso. and an inverted trapezium for the hip bone. So we have a rib cage and we have a hip bone area. And now we also know that we can't add our limbs from the corners like we've done here. So somewhere in the middle is where we will start drawing our legs. And the shoulders will extend out to the arms as well. Now the proportion of the body, if we were to look at how God has made it, not that this works for us, for all of us, is that the hip joint remains, if you make that the center and you fold the body, your body folds about, your head will come to a point which is somewhere at your calf. So you take this measurement and bring it down to wherever it reaches. This is your calf. There are some people I know whose noses touch their toes, but I'm not going to bring that proportion in because that is most alien. So calves is good enough, which means that we need a little bit extra beyond. And when I say little bit, it's just little bit right now. Don't worry about those proportions. Extend 2 lines outward at an angle. These will give you your feet. Now, if you were to stand, you will see that your own hand comes down below the hip to about somewhere here. This is where your wrists will come. And beyond that, your hand, you can draw it as a triangle, a diamond shape like that. And just after where your diamond shaped hand ends is where you will have the knees. These are really basic proportions that you can learn even from your own bodies. Now we've more or less got our shape. So let's try and flesh this out. Again, let's draw the same shape again. And you can literally make the proportions parallel to what you have drawn already. You don't have to make these marks all over again. So in this figure now, if we want to flesh the figure out, this is how we begin. A little narrower than the width of your oval, you will make the neck. Somewhere halfway up the neck, from that point to the shoulders, you will make the collarbone. This is the shoulder muscle actually, because this horizontal line becomes the collarbone. You will make a curved line joining the shoulder to the hips. And this curved line is because for most people, there is only a certain amount of, a normal amount of fat protecting your stomach, but there are no bones. There's no structural bit here. So the skin is stretched over bone, so it dips inward a little bit. And this is what's going to give us our flexibility. Now, just below the waist is where we'll have elbows. And you can stand in front of a mirror and see this for yourself. Your elbows will not be exactly at the waist, they'll be slightly lower. Now in these places, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, we are going to make shapes like sausages. All the joints will have a little circle, and obviously the muscles in the upper limb will be bigger and the muscles in the lower part of the limb will be slimmer. So we have bigger sausages for the upper arm, even bigger sausages for the thigh, and then slimmer, relatively, sausages for the lower limbs, that is the forearm and the calf. And for the legs, we are going to make them like a three-dimensional triangle. So you will make a shape like this, which is narrow on top, but it's not a point, and it spreads out like this, and then you create a wedge shape like so. Okay, so we have drawn one line, which is the top of the foot. You're going to give it some width at the ankle, spread it out, and then from the ankle draw a line straight down and join it. This is the closest block you can make for your feet. Now once you are familiar with this shape, you can start modifying this and making sure that the proportions are not too off. Is your head too tiny? Look at it like the human that you are, looking at another human, and you will be able to tell what is going wrong. Maybe some things are lopsided. My left shoulder is slightly smaller than my right shoulder, so I can make that adjustment. Move the head a little to this side. I think my head could be slightly bigger also. This is a nice exercise for you to do when you're sitting around. This is like waiting room exercises. Just make doodles of these, of this nature, and then try to make these adjustments and see how human your shape is looking. So since we are going to be making mostly clothed people, we won't go into making the other parts of the body. We are going to clothe this person. So let's start with something as simple as just putting on a t-shirt. You start with the neck. I'm going to do this part in pen so that you can see it better, and the pencil lines can look slightly different. So you start off with a neckline, and when you come to the shoulder, we are going to give it some room around the body. It's not going to stick to the body. And pull your shirt sleeve out a little bit. Before we finish the sleeve on the inside, just a little below where our arms are joining at the torso, we will make the folds of the t-shirt come in like this, and then from behind that we will fit it like so. Okay, so I have not connected these lines. When we are making human figures, any line we make says something, and if I connect this in a V joint, it's going to look very mechanical. So I'm going to connect it with an underlapping line like that. So the crease informs the eye of some kind of three-dimensional object which is being clothed. Below this, if we are to draw pants, pants can be a little tricky, but the first thing to do is make a line that's at an angle from one leg, a little away from that leg, and comes inward under the knee. It will then expand outward a little bit and then fold just below the ankle, just a little bit, because there's an obstruction. On the outer side, we don't draw the line continuing from the edge of the t-shirt. We draw it from a little inside. And here too, you can draw some creases coming inward, narrowing a little bit at the knee, expanding a little bit towards the foot, and then ending like this. So these little things, the shaped lines, the folds, that is always missing. And I found that very often the shape that is made is like this. And then there's this big question mark, why is my leg looking flat? Because it is made flat, it will look flat. It's as simple as that. So we need all these crease lines to show that there is something inside that on which the fabric is molding. All right? Everyone okay so far? Okay, so let me complete the other side as well. If you can ignore the red line. Make the second leg of the pants come a little away from the first line that we made, going into the crotch. Change the lines a little bit, don't make them identical. And this is where again I feel that it's easier to make lines which are not identical when you're drawing by hand, right? So you don't have to worry about things looking symmetrical on this part of the human body. Now for the feet, just simply flesh them out like that. I'm not drawing shoes on them. You can draw, the heel will come out of beyond the end of the triangle. So it will come from underneath like this. And then you will have a fold here as well. We are going to draw feet in more detail later. But till then, you can draw it like that. And just turn this line up a little bit. Go around the flat part of our triangle and then go up like this. So don't bother making toes. In an effort to make toes, the foot starts looking like some jungly foot. You don't really need it. The foot is not important here. In some places, accuracy is good, detail is good, not here. Alright, let's try repeating it on the other side. So first make the heel from behind our triangle, then make a fold, then the ball of the foot, toe, turn the line upward a little bit, go to the end of the triangle and then go make a slanting line coming and joining the triangle. Much more believable foot. Right? How are your feet looking? Better? Okay, now let's try the arms. Here we have more of the body visible than the legs. So we'll flesh out the arms. Now for the arms, I'll first use a pencil. So because using a pen would be a little difficult to explain. The arms, though we have elbows over here, this part of it usually goes pretty straight down from the shoulder. And then there's a little bulge on one side, not on both. So don't draw it like a leaf. We will make one part of the arm slightly straighter but not stick straight, and the other one bulges out on the forearm. And give yourself a strong enough wrist. We are not going to bring our line down to this point. So if I were to draw it on this side, I will make it slightly straight, a little bit of a bulge till here, and then more bulge on the forearm coming down to the wrist. Now when we are drawing the palm, this diamond shape gives us lots of options to expand, to make more different kinds of finger movement. So let's say we expand it this way. Here we have one thumb, and then we can have one finger where it can extend like that and create a shape like this. So it's almost like a floral shape that we create. So we make a bump and go down to our thumb, flatten it a little bit and then take it inside. Then bring a U shape inside our palm. This U shape and the outside of the palm are usually a parallel line. So that's this. It's as simple as that. This part is usually parallel to this part. So if you're going to keep your hand like this bone and this bone, these are connected. So they'll always be parallel. But these angles will change. So I have made this part and this part parallel. And then we can change the fingers like that. Again, this we are going to do in more detail. But all I'm saying is you don't have to again make 4 fingers and a thumb. You just make a silhouette of the shape. Oops. Sorry, how much did you all miss?
You were saying we are going
You,
to, and then it stopped.
you just did the thumb and the finger part. Yeah, just finished it. Yeah.
Okay. Did you hear my explanation about the parallel?
Yes.
All right. Okay. So it was just a little bit that I did. Okay. Now for the other side, I'll show you another gesture. So now you know how to make the arm straight from here and a little curve from the outside. And this time round we can make maybe a fist. So make your thumb turn inward like so, like this. And I'm sure you can already see the fist in the remaining diagonal shape. So you make this, you can visualize the inner part of the palm, which will be parallel to the outer palm. Here it's hidden, and we will bend our fingers and make a fist. Now we have enough to make the face. So turn the lines of the neck sideways a little bit. This is a very muscular neck. It's looking muscular because our t-shirt is too tight. And then we are going to make the face. Now this is where the trepidation begins. So first make the sides of the face. Then bring in the jawline. And then join the chin in the horizontal line. Don't draw the hair at all till you feel convinced that that is okay. Draw the ears first. And then from a little distance away on top of the ears, you can draw a hairline. Once you have the hairline, you could probably draw the forehead hair separation. Now, wherever you have drawn the ears, at the base of that, you will draw a short horizontal line for the nose. At the top of the ears, you will draw two short horizontal lines for the eyes. And then below the nose, a little higher than the chin, but not too close, you will draw a slightly longer line for the mouth. And just below the mouth, a short line for the lower lip. Mine has become too big. It has to be a little shorter than that. Oh, that's it. Okay. Now, just to go over this again, may I request all of you to draw another figure with the skeleton, the sausages, and then the clothing. And if you want this time, give him a V-neck. Okay, I'm just stepping away from my desk, so no stress. I'm going to mute myself a bit because there's some drilling on at my place, so that might be disturbing. So when you're observing your figures, if you feel that something is off, try to write what might be off. Just put that down. So you might say shoulders too wide, or torso too long, or legs too short. So there are very few variables. We have mostly just to adjust the length of the line and the direction. And placement. So the moment you talk to the line will answer. What is the line doing and what do you want it to do? It's a simple give and take. So every new figure you make, you start making those adjustments till you get the right figure. And this is a very nice exercise to do because you have seen how it can grow from something as simple as this and this to something more complex by just adding the number of lines that you make. Because effectively speaking, even these three figures are doing exactly what our fleshed out figure is doing. They're just standing. Right? Okay, let me know when you're done. Then I will proceed. Now, since most of you have done lettering in March, if you are going to title this page, I'm telling you right now, please make sure your lettering is beautiful. Okay. So don't put a scribbled portraiture and human figures over here. Not allowed. Think of your composition, and as you're going along, think about where you want to leave a little space so that you can add a nice lettering title for your page if you so desire. It's not necessary. I think it's self-evident that this is human figures, but I get really excited and I want to label everything. So if you're like me, then just make sure it's beautiful. All right, now this part has been fleshing of the body and clothing it. The other part now is gestures. So we have to pay attention to how the body moves as well. So when you have something like a human body or an animal, all these elements have movement in them, and we have to be able to see how the body moves with you have movement, you have balance, you have posture, and sometimes you might also have emotions. You might have happiness, sadness, all of that reflects in the body, and we have to start recognizing those and drawing those out. But let's start with something simple. We know we have a head, shoulder, hips, arms, legs, and spine. And there is a way in which all of these can move. So our shoulders can move like a seesaw, up and down, one way or another. So can our hips. They can move up and down. The arms can go all around in a circle, and they can also come forward, but we are not going to do that foreshortened space right now. So within this 2D space, what all can the limbs and the body do? But more importantly, also the spine can move. It can create an S form one way or another way, or it can create a curve. These are all forms in which the spine can move. So let's have some fun. If you make a figure which has got a curved spine like this, what happens to the shoulders and the head? Now the shoulders will curve or bend the same way as the spine. You will rarely have a spine. Imagine this is a person facing you with their spine bent in a circle like that. You will rarely have the shoulder doing this. This is like an extreme figure. So how about our shoulder does this? And if our shoulder is tilted in one angle, our hips are usually tilted in another angle, just to balance out. Because wherever the hip goes high, that leg is what takes the weight, and also it leans inward. So there is a line from the throat to the foot that allows us a balance in an extreme posture. And you can see something like that in, say, a yoga pose. Maybe the arms are like this. And many women stand like that also, I've seen them. I stand like that in the kitchen, just waiting for the milk to, yeah, Bhavani also does. Milk to boil or something. You just have to be there attending to it. This is my pose.
They're flamingos. I call myself a flamingo.
Yeah, and it's so comfortable. It is an extremely comfortable pose. So yoga becomes a very nice way to practice these. Now let's imagine a trikonasana, triangle pose. So start with the hips, don't start with the head here. Because first we have to align the hips, and I think the hips will bend in one way, so that you have one leg forward pointing forward, one leg backward pointing sideways, and then you will have the spine bending, shoulder here going all the way down, and one hand going all the way up. And we can put a nice diamond on top, and at the bottom we will make a triangle. Here my arms and legs and everything is really big. So proportion has gone completely off. But it's okay. No problem. Now suppose we had to flesh these. How can we flesh these out? Now the torso remains the same. The trapezium does not change. The trapezium of the hips doesn't change either. But look at how the angle between them has changed. That is what gives us this bend. same thing here. The torso remains the same. The hip bone remains the same, but the angle between changes. So it crunches on one side and expands on the other. Now do this now. Once you have put this, you can review and change the rest of the figure. Put the sausages in place. And you have your posture. Now, when you're drawing this, please don't erase the lines that are not working. It is not going to help you. The lines that are not working are like the guides which are pointing you to what you should be doing. If you remove those guides, you will be lost again, and in all likelihood, you will make the same line again. So each wrong line is literally like a lighthouse. When a ship is heading in the wrong direction, when there is a lighthouse, its presence helps the ship navigate to safety. The wrong line, it's not going to be that perilous to draw a wrong line. But still, if you remove that, it's literally like removing the lighthouse, which is telling you, don't draw it here. Draw your line somewhere else. All right. Now let's apply this to the figures that I have sent. So let's look at these figures. I'm going to do one for you so you know what to watch out for. And then I want you to do the other four yourself. So here we have a gentleman on the phone. Are you able to trace how his skeleton might be? Let me try and make this for you. So we have an oval. Then you have the spine. Then you have the hips. The hips are probably like this. The shoulders and the torso are probably like that. The side of the hip bone, which is higher, gives you balance. So we have drawn that leg here, and the other one extends outward. Remember, this is the same one that we had made into the yoga pose. It's almost exactly the same. And then you have a hand going to the ear, another hand coming down with maybe a triangle because his fingers are closing backward. And that's that. Okay, do you want to give it a shot? Do you want me to keep this for you, or do you want to just look at the image and draw it? Okay, I'll keep this one. You can draw this figure. Save it for us. Oh, just give me 1 second. I need to just answer this call. Okay, I'm going to draw the same guy. This is a blue shirted guy.
Where
Oh,
did the figure go, Aditi?
oh, where did the figure go?
Actually, you had gone off camera, I think.
Yeah.
So
You want me to share that again with?
that's okay. That's okay. I just thought maybe it was somewhere that I couldn't see.
No, no, no. It's here.
Okay. Ah.
Okay, now once you've made this figure, how about put some clothes on the figure? The same clothes that you see in the reference image. Now for the hand that is holding the phone, all his fingers are spread out. Don't bother with that. Keep the phone and the fingers as one unit. That's it. Just make maybe a pentagon shape instead of diamond shape. But do pay attention to the fact that his clothes are not sticking to his body. There is a certain flow, there are some folds. Look at the angle of the shoulder, length of his upper arm. And also notice things like where, with respect to his face, does the other shoulder come outward. He is slightly hunched. So it doesn't come out over here. He look very straight, like he's standing much straighter than he should be. And there is a little bend in the waist also. The shirt sticks out a little bit. Then we have a belt. And for the pants, notice how there is a fold at the crotch. And then the left leg, the pants stretch out more because his leg is outstretched. There's a fold of the pocket on the right. And then you have these kinds of lines on the fabric. So now this is an extended study of how fabric sits on a body. And fabric flows are another topic on their own, but it's not going to be any different from this. You just follow the line and you draw it in the place where that line should be, in the manner that it should be, the length, direction, and the nature. How curved is it? Is it concave, convex? As simple as that. Now for the legs also, notice we had that wedge like shape. So the shoe is going to fit in that wedge shape like that with a fold. So if you make it like that wedge shape, you shouldn't have a problem making these shoes anymore. Straight from the top and then turning around a little bit. So I was pretty good at drawing human figures from much younger age because, as always, I have done nothing else in life but only drawing. So, there was a time in college when we had to make our presentation for our fashion show, and uh, we were not assigned the models that we wanted, and I was a little miffed about that. So I said, all right, the illustration that I make, I will make those guys our models. And I chose to make the faces of Madhu Sapre and Milind Soman, and literally from memory. And I don't know how I did it. I cannot do it now. I think I must have been really upset that just with this sense of revenge, I said, I'm going to have them in my illustration, even if I can't have them on the RAM. And we displayed those illustrations when our show was to happen. And to my utter mortification, the models walked past that display. And after the show, I got word that Madhu Sapre wanted to see the artist who has made this. So I was taken to her backstage. And I was so tongue tied. I didn't know what to say. This was not an outcome I had expected. I only wanted them for my illustration. I had no plans on talking to any of them. But it did happen, and my takeaway was only that I managed to make their faces. That's it. I don't remember. I was so traumatized from meeting her. I don't remember anything else. But this is how I made that illustration as well. The point I was trying to make was start with the easy stuff, get all that, and then focus on the face. And at this point, you don't even have to focus on the face.
So Aditi, this is what, see if the proportions are, I know the legs are too long. Looks like one of those exaggerated drawings.
All right. And now
Or
that you've
maybe,
given me the negative comment, tell me the positive.
I mean, I kind of got his pressure on the leg right, I think.
Yes, yes,
Meaning the weight is right.
yes.
The head is too small, but
No, no, the head is not too small.
well, then the legs are too long. One of the two.
I think you can increase the girth of his waist.
Okay.
And I think the proportion will work perfectly fine because a lot of it is working, Elaine. A lot. The
Yeah.
shoes are looking three-dimensional, they're not looking too flat.
Yeah.
You've got the folds on the pants in the right place. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's more
Thank you.
positive than
Yeah.
the negatives.
Good, good. Thank you.
Cool. Okay.
Can I
Yeah,
show mine?
let's see. Let's see size. Size. Okay. Tell me.
Uh, I don't know. I'm doing this after a very long time, and honestly, I can't make out for myself. It's
Okay.
according to me because I'm happy with the outcome because
Yeah.
didn't think that I will be able to do this.
So
Uh,
I'll give
so,
you,
yeah,
you tell
yeah.
me this. You tell me what you see.
I think the head is small, and the proportion basically I feel is a bit off, like the thickness of the hands, and I think that is, and also the torso, and I don't know. I think everything a
No,
little bit.
just so note down the stuff that you feel can improve right there. But I'll
Okay.
say the proportions are working. Torso to the legs proportion is fine.
Acha.
The length of the arms vis-a-vis the length of the torso and the legs is fine. He is looking a little imbalanced because one leg is straight. The
Huh.
leg on which he has to balance his weight is straight.
Yes,
Should have
yes.
been a little inside.
Side, correct.
Yeah.
Yes, yes, you're
And if you can increase the length of his face a little bit, his neck will
huh.
not stand out so much. So remember, I told you he's bending forward, so the line that comes away out from his shoulder actually leaves from the chin.
Ah, oh
There's
yeah.
no neck visible at all. So what you are drawing is actually what you are thinking and drawing.
Thinking.
You weren't probably observing. If you're not observing, then it's whatever your mind is telling you to
True.
draw. That's what you're drawing. But yeah, it's much more positive than negatives. Proportion wise, you're very close.
Thank you. That makes me happy.
Okay, let's see. Bhavani is nice. Looking good. Okay, very nice. Tell me, what do you think?
I've made him much younger and cooler.
Cool. Okay,
But
younger
I
body.
think the angle is, I've definitely not got the angle. He's more straighter. That leg
Yes.
out and balance is not there. But yeah, otherwise it's.
Aditi, the best takeaway that you gave, which I would not have thought of and I haven't heard before and I've tried, I haven't noticed, was this wonderful thing of the chin, a line coming down to the foot.
Oh, okay.
That keeps the balance of this man. You know, wherever, whatever he's doing, to get the weight on that hip, to
Yes.
bend it from the hip to a line that comes from his chin, it immediately makes the weight go on that hip and he looks as he's leaning. That was a marvelous input. This thing of this plumb line that you dropped from here for his balance. And I think you just draw that and then connect the limbs wherever they are.
Correct.
The foot which he has the balance on. Now see if both the feet are, I mean, if we are standing with the weight on both our feet, then this plumb line will come right in the middle.
Correct.
Perfect. This was just a fantastic moment.
Cool.
Can I show mine?
Yes, yes. Let's see, Neeta. Oh, very nice. What is your feedback?
I feel basically it's okay, but then still I feel that he's instead of wearing a shirt, it seems he's wearing a jacket.
Correct.
And yeah, his face I think is little small
Mm-hmm.
as compared to the body, I feel.
Yeah. Yeah, so proportions are just a little off in sizing. But you're right. If you imagine that he's just wearing like a down jacket, then it doesn't seem so off.
Yes.
The face can be made just slightly bigger and it will still work. Yeah. And
Oh.
actually, as an illustration style, that's a beautiful proportion, by the way. There is something to it that makes it look compelling. So if
Okay.
you were to make just a nice checker pattern on his jacket or something and make some jeans, he'll look very.
Yeah, he looks like a lumberjack.
Yes.
But you know what you've got, Neeta? She's got that weight on that foot. Again,
Yes.
that same thing of the
Correct.
chin dropping, I mean, that line. He's leaning absolutely right. And that is so important for any figure.
Yeah, once you get that balance, it doesn't matter the proportions of the body. There are so many different types of proportions. So we have to do that bit also. That's going to be your exercise for the week. But before that, anybody else would like to share their pictures? Shreya? Okay.
Yeah, ma'am. So
One minute. Let me see Shreya's. Oh, nice. What do you think, Shreya?
I think he looks way too casual.
Casual.
With respect to the less intense, I guess, but he looks human. So I think that's a win. And then I don't know. Rest, I guess, everything you tell me. I guess everything needs probably a little bit of adjustment. Maybe the
think-
top is too big.
Just hold it up so I can tell you. So I think proportions are fine. So he almost looks like he's in movement. He is moving forward in one direction. He doesn't look like he's standing. That is because your hips are in line. They're not at an angle. If they were at an angle, then and one leg outstretched, then he would look like he is standing with all his weight on that one leg. But right now, because the hips are at on the same level, he just seems to be walking forward, and that's perfectly fine as well. You've got the folds on the fabric pretty good. The legs, the shoes, everyone's shoes, I'm very impressed, are looking three-dimensional. Just imagine that drawing that wedge shape makes such a big difference. Otherwise, everyone's shoes would always be some kind of a like a leaf sticking out from under the pants. It's not that. Face and hand proportion is good. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with this. Okay, let's see. Meenakshi, would you like to share?
Yeah, it's the left hand is really off.
Okay, could you hold it slightly higher?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, now that you've told me something negative, tell me what is not off.
The posture is looking fine to me.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. I think the legs are too bowed. If you can just
Hmm.
make those lines straighter wherever they are. Right now, they're looking like the hips are spreading out over a circle, like a one of those exercise
Yeah.
lines. But if you straighten that line a little bit, I think the pants should also look fine. I think the hands are also looking pretty okay. The proportions are good. So yeah, if this is a first time figure, I think you're well on good track.
Yeah.
Cool.
Thank you. Yeah.
All right. Good. I'm very encouraged with this. So now moving
Yeah,
on.
Akita's showing hers.
Oh, wait a minute.
Akita
She's
too.
not here. Okay. I just saw her. Her screen had gone off. Yes. Oh my. That is awesome. What do you think?
Yeah, I like it.
That is very cool. Well done. Okay, great. All right, now we're going to get the colors out now. We have about 15, 17 minutes. So I want you to try to illustrate using paints as well. Now, there is an exercise in which you use only paints, but I'm not going to throw you on that deep end today. We'll do that next week. But first, we will make the skeleton exactly like this. We will make the shape of the clothing, and then we will try to make the patterns that we see on the clothing or the colors we see, along with some shadows. No facial features at all, only the body. If you feel like making the facial features, they're just going to be those 2 dots, 3 dots, that's it, in the right place, nothing more than that. So if you want to, who can we make? Let's make the gentleman standing with the camels. Now he is not standing facing us, but there is a little bit of foreshortening here. One leg is in front, one leg is in the back. But just to give you a little bit of a hint, because I can't resist it, his shoulders are from here to here. One of his hips is somewhere over here, the other one would be somewhere over there. And again, you can maybe draw a vague line like that from the chin to the toes. Have one leg balanced like this, one like that. And don't forget to draw his stick, because otherwise he will look really odd. That stick is what is giving him his posture. Okay, shall we try this? There aren't too many patterns in this, so we can just paint the dhoti and the kurta in whatever color you want, giving it a few um, folds here and there, and a nice pink turban. Okay, I'm not sharing this because I want you to figure this out for yourselves. Okay, I'm drawing this guy a little bigger in this space here. So, head, shoulders. Okay, now another tip, when you're drawing this, please try to draw multiple lines. So try to keep your line continuous on the paper while you draw maybe the hips like that. And if you want, you can draw the torso, but if you can see past it, then don't even bother drawing that. And directly go and draw the clothing. The skeletal form is only for you to understand what is underneath so that you can make the figure in the right proportions. And don't be afraid of overlapping. So this leg that I'm drawing, the one that has balance, I can draw that first and then overlap that with these lines for the second leg. It's much easier to get the right position if you allow these overlaps. The leg in the foreground is just a shape like that. The one in the background has the shoes. And even the shape of the turban is quite significant. It's a tiny thing, I realize it, but give that silhouette adequate attention. Okay, now to color this dude, can I just demonstrate first and then you can paint also? Because I'm hoping that in the coming week you do this practice of drawing as well as painting. So, first things first, let's paint gray shadows. So we will make a gray shade using burnt umber, that's this. A little bit of ultramarine or cobalt blue. So you start getting a very muddy gray color. And black. Don't use too much because we're just going to make light shadows. So this is like a warm gray shade you make, just this much, not too much. And using a medium sized brush like a 4 or a 6, water it down and use this to make a study. Wherever you see shadows, just apply a little bit of color there. My paint is going to be so light that once it dries, all of this is going to become much lighter. Just make brush strokes wherever you see shadows. The shadows are very subtle, so our painting also has to be very subtle. You just need to make a stroke. And once you've stained the paper, move on. So in this case also, avoid making too many lines. So even if you see a lot of lines there in the folds, don't do this. There aren't so many folds there. You only see the shadows of the prominent folds, and the rest you do not really see it. You are perceiving it. Don't let your perception dictate what you are seeing. And then you can paint the legs deeper. And the shoe, my shoe has become too fat. Now once this is done, you can add color. So I'm adding a very light pink shade to his turban. Just like that, a flat application. And we'll make a nice skin tone using a burnt umber. A deeper burnt umber for the foot in the back. And for the shoe, again we can use a grey, the same grey. And I'm going to now correct my shoe over here. The drawing was pathetic, so I'm changing the drawing with the painting. Now, if you want to do the same thing to the earlier guy, Again, very simple. Make the shadows first. So they will be over here on his shirt, maybe a little bit on his face, neck, hand, and all these folds. My fellow's got such slim legs. And once this dries, then you can just take maybe a cerulean blue and follow the silhouette of the body and make a checkered pattern. It does not have to be as delicate or at the scale that we see on him. Just a wobbly line is fine. Keep an eye on the pattern in the reference image. How the pattern changes from the body to the sleeves. And I think his pants are like a deep military greenish, bluish color. But of course, this is something that I am seeing. If you are seeing another color, please make the color that you are seeing. And even over here, the application has to just be brush strokes coming onto the pant leg. There will be a few highlights, so over there, don't put any color. Now, those of you who are still struggling with watercolor, this month I'm doing watercolor basics, and I will be covering all these things about how to mix colors, how to use your brush to make textures like that, brush manipulations, staining techniques, and all of that. And those classes are going to be on Wednesday and Friday. So if you feel you want to, this is a nice watercolor basics is a nice module to do. Just have under your belt for later classes as well. Okay, that's it.
Struggling with that posture of the cameraman.
Yeah,
The
it's
leaning, the weight on that stick is not coming.
no, it's my mistake. It's the worst posture that I could give you.
No. What's the mistake? I need to get posture. I need to feel the lean on the stick, which I'm not
Yeah,
getting. I feel like he's doing this without any weight.
without really leaning forward. So think
Yeah,
about
this is-
tilting the
I
posture
have to
with
think
the
about
torso.
I have to think where to put the weight and
But
how
don't think so much, Elaine. Just look at
Okay.
the picture. The photo will tell you what you are doing versus what you need to do. So see whether the angle of the hips can change,
Okay.
the angle of the shoulders can change. The clues will be right there.
Yeah. I don't know. I didn't see the hips the way you saw them, and I'm thinking of them the other way.
And also he's at an angle really.
He's an angle, but still the hips will be a
Foreshortened.
particular either. He's not really straight.
He's not straight. No, he's not.
So I'm not trying to figure out which way his hips are tilted, which is
They will
made
be
the one way
tilting,
first. It was not good.
they will be tilting down towards the left.
Towards the left. Yeah,
But
looks
they're
like that.
also displaced a little bit. The shoulders are
Yeah,
laid
they're away.
along the
Yeah,
same
it's
line.
like this. Yeah. Try.
Aditi,